Good morning. I'm with Dawn in Cambridgeshire today, and we're looking at another little English heritage site. This one is Duxford Chapel near Duxford Airfield and Imperial War Museum. This one's a bit of a strange location. There's a main road the other side of this. There's a Whittlesford Parkway station, the Red Lion pub, and then like loads of houses all around it. And then, well, clearly the chapel was here first, so everything else has been built around it. So it's free to go in, this one. There we go. So the chapel is all that remains of a small hospital established in the 13th century by Sir William de Colville, the local lord of the manor. It sheltered poor travellers and tended to the sick, with a minimal staff including 1 or 2 monks. The chapel was largely rebuilt in the 14th century when it became a chantry where a priest said masses for the soul of the founder. All chantries were closed in 1547 as part of Edward VI's Protestant religious reforms. Duxford Chapel was then used as a barn until its restoration in the mid-20th century. Let's head inside and look at some old stuff. Early in the 13th century, Sir William de Colville, Lord of the Manor of Duxford, founded a small hospital beside Whittlesford Bridge. Though first recorded in 1236, the scanty remains of the original building and the statement late in the century that it had existed of old time suggest that it was founded soon after 1200. Many such hospitals were established about this period. Their various duties included sheltering poor travellers, as well as tending the sick, usually aged or chronically afflicted. And the position at Duxford beside a highway is a typical one. The hospital was staffed by a master or prior and at least one brother living under the Augustinian rule. These appointments were made by the Bishop of Ely. The endowments were quite good and included a water mill. This foundation is to be distinguished from the manor which another of the Colvilles gave to the Knights Templars at Duxford sometime before 1273, and which probably stood on the same bank but nearer the village. In 1312 the order was dissolved and its properties transferred to their rivals, the Knights Hospitallers. About this time, the little hospital, like many others at this period, had outlived its original usefulness or efficiency and lost much of its endowments, including the mill, which later appears as belonging to the Hospitallers. It would seem therefore that at the time of the transference of the Templars' manor to the Hospitallers, the hospital was reorganised on a reduced scale, and that the rebuilding of the chapel in the early 14th century was perhaps part of this agreement. There is no evidence that the Templars ever had an interest in it. The hospital became a free chapel, that is, a small isolated chantry, whose incumbent's chief duty was to pray for the soul of the founder. The bishop continued to appoint masters and chaplains until chantries were dissolved under Edward VI in 1548. The master was usually an absentee. His deputy, the chaplain, had quarters at the west of the chapel, or the site of the hall of the hospital. The chapel, as rebuilt, remained unaltered for 2 centuries. There are other instances known of hospitals being reduced to chantries in this way. One part of the hospital's duties remained, that of collecting alms, i.e. disguised tolls at the bridge, and looking after it. How much else remained we do not know, nor do we know when the adjoining inn grew up to supply the shelter no longer provided by the hospital. After the chantry was dissolved, the chapel became a barn attached to the inn. The walls breached to form wagon doors have now been made good. Well, that's the end of this little video. Thank you for joining us, having a little look round Duxford Chapel. Fantastically preserved piece of our rich history of this country. if you're not a member of English Heritage already, you do like history, I highly recommend joining English Heritage. I'm not getting sponsored or paid to say that. I just think they're a really good organisation, and you get some really good discounts. Of course, with the membership you get into these places for free, even though this one was actually free to go in. Yeah, it's just, they look after some really cool buildings and sites that otherwise will probably be lost. So if this sort of thing interests you, I don't just do history videos, I also do walks, long distance walks, wild camping especially. Yeah, just exploring old abandoned places and documenting history. If that sort of thing interests you and you're not subscribed already, consider it, as always. Yeah, click the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and that means you'll get notifications of every time I post a video. And yeah, leave a comment, like the video, that would be great as well. Cheers for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves, look after each other, stay safe and be nice to everyone. Get out there and look at some old stuff. See you later.